Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Monday, Memorial Day. So let me start off by saying thank you to all the veterans who have served us, all the people who gave their lives so that you and I can have the fun we're going to have over the next 30 minutes and the remainder of our lives. So let me get that out of the way. Now, with that said, Tom, today's a big day.
It is a big day.
I wore a hat, not just because my hair's all messed up and I just got out of bed, but this is day number one. You know it and I know it. Day number one of our summer of celebration. Woo, woo. That's right.
Yes, indeed. And if you are already a member of the Ring of Renegades, you can go there. The first post is up. Here's your chance to celebrate what you have going on today. Do you want to talk a little bit about the summer of celebration, Bob, just for those who may be?
I would love to, Tom. So this idea came to us a couple weeks ago, and the goal is that we're going to celebrate. It can be a big thing. It can be a little thing. It can be a professional thing. It can be a personal thing. It can be something that matters not to anyone but you. So you could actually get on there tomorrow morning and go, I did a push-up for the first time in 25 years, and that would be a perfect cause for celebration. The goal here is to celebrate things big and small in the hopes that celebration leads to greater success. And we see when we celebrate, plus in our community, the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, as we celebrate our successes, we get to learn about each other. And we also get to support each other, because if you say, hey, I did my first push-up in 20 years, then I might go, oh, wow, that's amazing. You know, it took me 3 months to get to 20 push-ups. And here's how I did it. Or it might be something around your business like, hey, I sent out my first email and only 3 people looked at it, but 3 people looked at it. You go, oh, that's awesome. You sent out an email. Hey, I've got some tricks for you to get that to be 30 people or 300 people. So we're going to build the community through celebration all summer long. And with today being the official start of unofficial summer, we kick it off today.
The official start of unofficial summer.
I stole that from Al Roker about 4 years ago. Take it from the best.
You need to copyright that, or at least you gave him.
I gave Al Roker the credit he deserves.
There you go. No, I hope that people will participate. And again, we'd love for you to participate every day this summer, because I think that, not that we would do this, but if we were doing that, says something, what frustrated you today, it would be very easy for people to do that. So we want to make it as easy for you to think about whatever it was that you can celebrate for the day and share. And as Bob said, I think not only what I find is it helps me do the next step, it also sometimes inspires others to do other things. Some who may share that with you is like, wow, so great to hear you do that. It inspired me to do this. And others who just are inspired by it and choose to do it. And you never know that that's what happens. By putting it out there, it at least now has the opportunity for that to be the case. So I'm looking forward to this, to the challenge of doing it every day. And I hope that others of you will join us. So Bob, now let's get on. Appropriately, our topic for the day is celebration.
Whoa, how'd that happen? That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be actually like we planned this thing out.
The planning team well on their way.
Correct.
Maybe that's cause for celebration.
We'll celebrate our planning team. Good idea. Anyhow, so we want to talk a little bit about what it is today. And I think, it's interesting when we were talking about that as a topic, I was like, well, hello, it's celebrating. It's that hard to do. It's a day where we are celebrating. Some people are doing cookouts. Some people are, hiking, backpack, whatever, getting together with family and friends. And I think it's interesting, that is, I think, the basic understanding of what a celebration is. And I think, fortunately, we feel like in the country that there is a greater ability to celebrate. You know, it was interesting. I heard last night that there were 150,000 people at the Indianapolis 500, which is like the largest crowd for anything in like 16 or 18 months.
Yes.
And, you know, I think in some ways that in and of itself is a cause for celebration. So I think
Helio Castroneves win. Look at that. I didn't know I was a car race fan.
Look at you. What did
and
you?
Kyle Larson won the Coca-Cola 600 last night. I got my.
Wow. All right. What we
So great little story I can throw in.
Okay.
Because I can. When I was like 7 or 8 years old, my parents went out on the night before Memorial Day and left me with a babysitter. And it was back when the Indianapolis 500 was taped on ABC and they showed it in the evening. Yeah. And I convinced the babysitter to let me stay up till like 11:30. My parents came home furious with the babysitter and even more furious with me. And it was like, come on, 15 more minutes, 15 more minutes. And, you know, I'm lying there doing nothing. But that's one of those things that every time I see the Indy 500, my mind reverts back to that day.
Fair enough. Interesting.
Yeah. So big race fan. I will watch it if it's on TV. I like that. But as we talk about celebration, I don't want to get completely off track. You know, we memorialize on Memorial Day. We are remembering the people who gave big sacrifices, and in our businesses and in our lives, we give big sacrifices. I know you know this. I certainly know this. Anyone who's done anything new, unique, different, novel has sacrificed. And so to me, that idea of celebration and memorializing things, it's sort of, that's where we were, and this is how far we've come. And I was watching a special on PBS last night, and they were talking about all the people that gave their lives during Pearl Harbor, during 9/11. And they were talking about how things looked bleak in those days and they look better. And I think that's what we have to celebrate. Ultimately, when we talk about celebration, it's like, boy, this was impossibly difficult. And now I have a business, or now my team's starting to function effectively, or now my organization is starting to achieve the results I knew were there. But boy, there were some tough meetings and some tough times. And so here we are at a place where we celebrate. And the celebration is really rejoicing in how far we've come. And if we look at how far we've come, I think that empowers us and encourages us on a very subliminal level to keep going. Because if you start and say, I've got to go from 1 to 100, that's a lot of miles to cover. But if I made it from 1 to 2, man, that's double. Now I'm going to go to 1 to 3. Wow, that's more. 1 to 4, and stair step our way forward. And that's what you and I have tried to do with people for over a year. What's the next step? And then celebrate that.
Yeah, I think that's to me, that's. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I think it's interesting. I think that to me is, in some regards, a lot of what celebration is remembering that people took an action. You know, in all of those situations, something happened. And people then, rather than just saying, oh, you know, they bombed us in Pearl Harbor, now they're going to take over California, and then it's going to move into the country, and we'll just surrender. People decided that was not the case. We were going to take action. And I think, you know, every time I think about the sacrifice that people give when they decide to serve their country, they ultimately have to decide to take an action. One, they have to say, yes, I'm willing to do this. And then typically they take the next step, you know, whether it's getting off of a boat on the landing on D-Day, or, you know, starting the advance in Afghanistan. They had to be willing to take a step that they knew they didn't know what the results were going to be. They just were determined this was the next best step to take, and then see what happened. And then we'll take the next step. And I think, like you just said, it's that ability for us when something happens that kind of shakes us, we need to then figure out how do we take the next step. And I think that to me is a big part of why we would celebrate. Not necessarily the results, because the first step might not have seem to be that big of a thing. It might have been like, oh, okay, geez, you know what? My marketing campaign didn't go the way I thought. Or my meeting with my team, well, that didn't go well. All right, what is my next step? And it might just be, let me step back and say, okay, what happened? Let me look at it a little differently. I need to go back now and have a conversation with this employee who was frustrated about the way the meeting went. And that conversation might not go really well the first time. And so I might have to go back another time and another time. The willingness to take those steps, to keep trying to move forward, even though sometimes the steps don't work and it's a little bit backwards or it's sideways, the willingness to keep taking a step, I think, is what are the things that we are celebrating, is that people are willing to do that.
And we don't always know what that next step is. And I've certainly helped people celebrate, like, wow, you took a step. I'm just impressed. I was working with someone who's trying to find a job, and they started to look at listings, and they sent me a listing. I'm like, oh, that's great progress. I love that. It's so nice that you were able to figure out that there actually were jobs out there that could interest you. And they were like, well, it's not really what you would think. I'm not judging that. You found something that interests you. Now let's take the next step. What would your resume look like to match up to that? Right. And the person's like, yeah, but I haven't even applied for a job yet. That's not it. And I think that's the thing that ultimately you and I are really trying to resolve, is helping people understand that it's about taking the actions, not the results, and celebrating that you took the action. And I think as we celebrate taking actions, we almost find our way, and it's a whole lot more fun. I mean, I know when I take a moment to celebrate, just, I guess the best example is when I play golf. If I have a good shot, there's a little celebration going on in my head that no one else knows is going on. But I'm like, holy cow, look at that. You actually did what you wanted to do. Isn't that a miracle? That's awesome. This is the greatest day in your life. And sometimes I'll say to people, okay, I'm just going to go to the car and wait for you guys, because like I can't do any better. But then I go and take the next shot. And sometimes the next shot's great, and sometimes it's not. And then when I really get down to it, it's about celebrating each of the shots I take and the opportunity to take the shots. And whether we're running a business or we're in an organization, the fact that we get the opportunity to try things is so vitally important. I want to get a quote in here, Tom. Michael's with us this morning. Good morning, Michael. How are you? Celebrate today for all it's worth and worry about tomorrow when it comes. Same goes for life. Live each day for all it's worth. That is an awesome sentiment. That is exactly what we're trying to do. Couldn't have said it better. Beautiful, Michael. Thank you so much for contributing this morning. Hope your day's off to a great start.
And I think that one of the things about that is, what's interesting is, so often we're like trying to get to a destination, which would be the results. And we think that the result is going to be here. That's our goal. But once we start taking steps, we're like, that's interesting. Like the person who's looking for a job. If they never start looking at want ads or at the listings, want ads, they ever start looking at job listings, they won't know what's out there.
Want ads.
Sorry. So then they're stuck, right? Once they start looking at different job listings, they're like, well, I didn't know that job was out there. Right. Oh, that's interesting. That might be something that I'm intrigued by. And while we thought our direction was going one way, the fact that we took this one step and we learned from it, we now might take a completely different direction, because that might intrigue us more than what we initially thought. And we never would have known that had we never gone to the job listings to say, well, what's out there? What are the possibilities that I might discover that I didn't know, because that wasn't what was real for me. That wasn't a part of my knowledge, experience, or perspective at the time. And until I add to that, I don't necessarily know what's real.
So Tom, we'll go short today because I'm starving and I need to go get some breakfast. And it's Memorial Day and people have lots to do. So what's your one thing today?
My one thing is, I hope that this is helpful for people as we go through our summer of celebration, is celebrating the action. We are celebrating people who gave their lives for their country. Some of them were in unbelievably heroic ways. Others were heroic because they were willing to put themselves in harm's way. And maybe the decision wasn't the exact perfect decision. And yet they were willing to take that step. And so we're celebrating that they were willing to take a step that many of us haven't chosen to do. And I think that it's the same for how we look at our business. Is I want people over this summer to celebrate the steps they take, because there is a lot to celebrate in the fact that you were willing to take a step, because it is very easy to sit on the sidelines and do nothing in life, in business, in this, in giving service to your country. There is a lot to celebrate for your willingness to take that step. And I think those are things that we need to find ways to celebrate.
There's also another parallel, Tom, because a number of the people who have served our great country were forced into it through the draft. Wasn't their first choice, probably wasn't their second or third choice, but they got in there and then they found their heroic nature. They did heroic things, even though it wasn't what they wanted to do. And some of us find ourselves leading teams, running organizations, starting businesses, working in jobs that may not have been what we always wanted to do, but we can find a way to celebrate the successes within there. Even if the success is, I survived another week of this horrible job. I mean, I've had jobs where it's like, just surviving another week because it's chaos, or just, wow, we got the widgets out the door. That's worthy of celebration. So
Absolutely.
My one thing this week would be, or for today would be, I challenge everyone to find something to celebrate each day. Every single day from now till Labor Day, find something to celebrate and share it with all of us. Because I think when I see what you celebrate, Tom, it's going to spark me to celebrate things differently. And when I see what other people celebrate, it makes me go, oh, wow, I have that too. I never thought about that as a celebration. And I think you froze on me, Tom. Tom is gone. So folks, with that, please be safe today. Happy Memorial Day. Take care, be well, and please, love to see your comments here about our Summer of Celebration. And Tom has put in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group how you can join us. Just go to that posting he has that says Summer of Celebration. It's bright yellow. And post your celebration for today, and there'll be another one tomorrow and the day after. With that, if you haven't joined that Facebook group, hey, you should. Really need you to join so you can be part of all these activities and the great stuff we're doing. With that, have a great day, and we will see you soon.